Hello, and welcome back to my interdisciplinary painting studio. I've got a show that I'm applying for, a new website to make, and some questions to answer. Let's get to it.
I'm going to start answering questions that I've gotten again and again on Patreon, on here, and from BFA art students.
So when I'm re-entering a painting,
I almost go back to the last thing I did and rework it to just have a touch point.
kind of like picking up in a book that you put down like a couple weeks before, where you're like, I know what's going on, but I need a little refresher. So you like go back a couple of pages and you kind of reread for a second. What should I listen to? I just reread Fourth Wing. Oh boy, that was a happy meatball. Having EDS, that book series, means a great deal to me. Read pretty much exclusively fantasy when I'm not reading like art stuff, so it just absolutely butters my biscuit. I think I'm gonna listen to the next Iron Flame, or I'm gonna listen to Color Theory book.
How do I achieve depth within a painting? I think there is a misconception with beginners when they look at amazing finished paintings. They think, wow, they look at the surface. They see the last layer of what a painter worked on. And sometimes there's 30 layers underneath, 40 layers underneath, and you don't necessarily see that, but you will feel that. What I personally do is I work in kind of chiaroscuro, which is working from dark to light in most cases. So I start with the darkest darks, even if a color will end up being light in the end, similar to this tree. See how there are these highlights? I put those in as I get to the absolute final layers. So many things in between are just very, very, very subtle variations. Like with all these questions, I've gotten a variety and I'm kind of summarizing and giving you a first stab at it, but I've gotten a lot of questions about what I use for my palette for oil. I use a glass palette that we built into the structure of my paint cart. So this is on the surface, so it's designed so that it's at a good height for me to lean over. And I'm able to do all of my mixing. Because I work with pretty large paintings, I find it really helpful to have a larger surface. In the past, I've had very small surfaces, which is totally fine, especially for smaller pieces and for beginners. But for me, having a larger one is great. I also have it so there's a lid on top, which acts as a table, which then makes it so it does not cure as quickly, so then I can have workable oil paint for a lot longer.
Things are happening, things are going well. We're going to add a little bit of oil pastel. Here's the big challenge with this painting, is that it's very, very close hue and value in a lot of cases, and creating depth with a big mass of trees that are in very similar spots. There's not a ton of variation. We've got to find a way to pull things forward and push things back. And it's all about subtlety and really small, slight variations in saturation. And that's just the name of the game. Some inspiration for pieces like this. I have so many painters that I love that paint the forest. Landscape Painting Now is a wonderful book. Mad V. Levinstein, this painting with all the really close hue and value and saturation. I've really expanded my palette a lot. Like, this is very like saturated for me. This series that I did, Living Tiny Everyday Encounters, is like extraordinarily muted in a lot of ways.
This series was made with my handmade earth pigments.
Franz Gertz, this painting is astonishing to me. It's just so detailed and clearly I think it took him like 2 years to make. These pieces are so good. If I could just put like an inspiration for my whole series, like capturing the particularities of each season and like super hyper detailed stuff, like this would be a spread. All right, let's get back to painting.
My rule for myself is if I see something that is not working within a painting, I have to fix it. Once you see it and you can make it better, make it better.
I'm just gonna scrap the whole thing. Yes, yes. That's what it needed. Wow. a million times better. Sometimes it's just like one little thing. This is why I put it on time lapse, because I just talk to myself and I'm really weird, so. Okie dokie, artichokes. I'm happy with the additions that I made. I added some pastel, very strategic places. Will forever paint trees. That is my number one subject. And I really see them as a stand-in for the figure. I just haven't got to paint much and it feels really, really freaking good. It's wild how my mental state just kind of like clicks. Everything in my life just like clicks into place when I'm painting. Like I feel like I can really think and process information, process my emotions when I'm painting. And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way about making art, whatever their art form is, that just like clicks for them. But painting has always been that for me. It just lifts me right back up and is so infinitely fascinating and engaging. And it just completely consumes my entire attention in a way that nothing else really does. I just love it. Really very enjoyable.
Let's talk a little bit about painting surfaces. While I absolutely love stretching canvas and building stretcher bars and painting on that, for so long, I have painted and drawn and done mixed media work on paper. I use mixed media paper paintings and I'll do acrylic on there with like pastels and collage and all these different materials. And I find this to be a really refreshing, expressive way to work.
I think that's good for now. Definitely don't have it in me to finish this today. I may come back to it in a touch, but just want to take a little bit of a break. Hi, we're back in the studio. I love going on vacation, and I really, really needed one. So badly, so much more than I realized. But I really missed my studio and I missed working while I was doing a lot while I was on my vacation, art related, like going to a bunch of museums and stuff. I'm jonesing for some studio time. So I'm applying to a show. What is the opposite of a procrastinator? Whatever that is me. I tried to prepare as much as humanly possible, but now I gotta finish things up. Right now I'm writing a series statement for a show that I'm trying to apply for. I have many techniques to make this a little bit more bearable. As somebody that's been an arts educator for over 11 years and has done tons of work with those on the spectrum and in learning differences, and I myself have really extreme ADHD. This is like an actual different way that people's brains function and understand the world and process information and make connections. And it is very challenging, but it doesn't need to be a deficit. It can be a strength and a superpower. And I have worked really hard to try to accommodate for myself in this way. Find that if I create the infrastructure for success in my environment, and be a little bit more successful. I like to make this my little like cafe almost. So it feels like I'm in a cafe, but I'm not super distracted by everyone talking. And I don't have to spend like $7 on a latte. I made my laptop really pretty. I've got visuals. I am so pale right now. I am like a ghost. So honestly, the thing that really helps me is to just kind of freeform journal, and I'll do like a mind map and I'll just draw out connections from just words and phrases. I have done this several times in this sketchbook already on studio days. And I find that when I'm already painting and drawing, I'm able to kind of pull the words a lot more easily. I have several books that I've been reading as references, both visually and conceptually. This is an example of what I did for Hearth and Home. It's a very mini collection that I just did. I will just write my kind of research and my phrases alongside the images and references that I'm thinking of using. And this really helps me to make those connections that are grounded in the images and in the work itself. if I kind of separate myself like completely, where it's like, okay, now I'm writing and now I'm making, I find that I get more stuck and there's no kind of momentum if I do it like that. You will always have to write about art if you are going to go back to school, get your master's, or if you are going to propose work. Being able to speak about your work is, I think, extremely necessary and makes sense why it's so hard, because we're making things visually to be able to convey something that is combining subject and context and emotion and sensation. Everything comes together into a piece. And the reality is, just like when we take a book and we transform it into a movie, it's a different medium altogether and it's never going to be the same. Like, as much as it is annoying and we want all the essence of a book to be prevalent in a movie, it's just not possible. So just recognizing that and being like, okay, how do I get to the essence of what it is in simplest words and simplest terms, and then do what I can in writing that can only be done in writing and maybe can't be done in the piece. I've been doing these like little bursts of drawings where I just create kind of like thumbnails of the pieces that I want to make and them kind of together as collections, and then doing some writing alongside it. But by doing that, I'm able to kind of start from a place of, there's a running start, you know, like I'm not just starting from absolutely nothing when I am getting out my laptop and actually starting to write. I don't get nervous about a blank canvas and like that fear of just like starting with nothing. I don't have that at all. What I do have is a blank Word document fear. I started just adding a color, and then it's like, ooh, it's like a little bit more engaging for my eyes to look at it. I'm excited to get to the fun part, which is actually making things break. Yesterday I worked on some of my commission stuff, so then that's not towards the show, but that was really important to do. I want to just finish this painting. It's really not that far from being done. Okay. And I'm working on my website. I had this dream that my website would be done for when I applied. Believe me, all I want to be doing is making things. All I want to do is make things. But the reality is, for people to actually see the work, you have to put it out there somehow. A big question that I get is, how do I curate my portfolio? How do I do a website? So what I did when creating a new website was I started from the beginning. I thought, what are my goals and intentions? So that means an artist statement, having a CV available, and having a very robust portfolio that has beautiful images and is clearly labeled. So I ended up going through my entire photo library and organizing my images, creating series and putting things by date and by medium. And here's the thing, 3 best ways that I've seen websites laid out in terms of portfolio are as follows. Collection or series, so groups of work that are together, and then pieces by medium. So if you're somebody that does multiple mediums, this can be a great way to segment them. And then by date. I decided to go with the most clear and decisive delineation, which is by date. So I was able to go through my work in a very comprehensive way. I was able to see a lot of common threads and connections that I hadn't really noticed before. It felt really good to see everything together and put together in a way that is both comprehensive and exciting for me to look back on and get excited for the future. I'm an artist and an arts educator. I just really want to be able to share things that I know not everybody gets to go to art school, and my hope is that these videos can provide some inspiration and gentle guidance. And so if I was going to accept a sponsor, it had to be something that really aligned with my practice and could be something that I could give to you all. I fell in love with the Pixpa service. This worked out really well. They gave me a little code, EPIC, that you can use, and you get 40% off if you do an annual year, or you get 55% off if you do 2 years. They're very generous in giving me 2 years, so I'm very, very happy. Let us get back to the painting.
What about when you get stuck when you're painting. Like you get sick of the painting or it's in a really hard spot. What I try to do, and I think I said, I have my larger painting, Threshold to Fantasy, that I'm working on, and I'm working on this painting. The entire reason that I'm working on this painting right now, when I really need to be working on the other to apply for the show, because I wasn't even putting this in the application, was because I needed an adjacent painting. I needed to be able to put energy into another painting as a warm-up. So I do this with sketching or drawing or doing fiber arts, and then having the other piece that I'm working on. I find it so helpful to have my sketching practice, to have my adjacent practice with fibers, to have multiple pieces going on at the same time. So then when I have energy and excitement to work on something, I'm able to do it right then. And there's not as much pressure. Even with a ton of deadlines, I'm able to still build in play and truly, authentically being excited to make what I'm making. Yes, there are going to be points where you are stuck and you have to work through it. And there's times where you need to just step back, work on something else, go on a walk, look at it in the morning light, have a friend look at it, take a picture of it. I have a million ways to kind of get out of this feeling. But the biggest thing for me is having multiple pieces going at the same time. P.S. This little playtime led to my next painting that I'm currently working on now. I ended up building a stretcher bar that's 42 by 33, I think, and I'm so excited to make this painting.
I have hoofed this girl hopping down the stairs so many times now. Excuse me, let's get some pictures. I honestly have too many pieces at this point, so I'm gonna have contenders. This moonlit buns. The thing that's hard about this application, I don't think you could put like, oh, these are my 5 pieces, these are my 10 pieces, and these are the detail shots. I think it's like, that's kind of it. Closer, must move. Like this used to be my spot. But like, who the hell can keep their studio wall clean? If you're keeping your studio wall completely clean, you are a superhuman to me.
All right, our pals, keep leaving your questions below, and as I'm working in my interdisciplinary studio, I will do my best to answer them. If you would like more art inspiration and guidance, you can head to my Patreon. I also make an extra video there every single month, and I just did one for the first week of April on gathering art inspiration as an artist. Thank you so much, Pixpa, for sponsoring this video, and I hope you all check out my freshly made website. I'm going to be adding some really cool new stuff into my shop this spring, but there's already a few things there right now on the sly, and I hope you like them. Thanks so much. I will talk to you later. Bye.